All right, it is 6 o'clock. Let's call the meeting to order and open with the prayers. All right, Lord, we gather tonight to serve the city and its people. Grant us clarity as we weigh the decisions before us, patience as we listen to one another, and humility to remember that we serve something larger than ourselves. May our deliberations tonight be guided by fairness, our disagreements be marked by respect, and our choices reflect the best interests of this community. For those here tonight and for those who are not, we ask for wisdom in our work and goodwill toward one another. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Yeah. All right. First up on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or changes needed?
I already have the addition on 9B of a purchase request for a fire tanker truck, and with that addition, I would move for the approval of the amended agenda.
A second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 4-0. Next up, we have the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign.
No vote.
No vote.
Abstain.
3, 0, and 1. All right, public comment. Miss Tammy Shaw.
Hi, I'm Tammy Shaw, for those of you that don't know me. I'm here to talk to you guys about a new ordinance, because apparently we don't have one. And for over 1.5 years with our neighbors, they have chickens and roosters, but now we're just down to one rooster. And the one rooster that we do have, if we're in our backyard, crows nonstop. And I think that we do a nice job of upkeeping of our yard and our backyard, and we like to enjoy our backyard. We do a lot of barbecuing. And it's kind of a pain when we're trying to have a good time to constantly have a rooster crow. And I'm not talking at 6 a.m. when a rooster normally crows. I'm talking if we come home from church and want to barbecue and eat outside, as soon as we start talking, apparently he feels as though he needs to be in the conversation too. We've talked numerous times with our neighbor. We've talked with the neighbor's landlord. I'm not even going to bring up the smell issue, because we're talking a chicken pen that has anywhere, depending on the time of the year, just chickens, anywhere from 15 to 8 chickens. So like when we had this last wet season, it was really hard to set out and enjoy our patio because they chose not to clean out their pen. I'm not even gonna go there. I would just like for the rooster to go away so I can enjoy my backyard. I didn't choose to live out in the country. I chose to live in Kingman. I pay my bills on a regular basis, and it's just irritating. And I feel as though the time has come that roosters just need to not be in city limits. I'll let them keep their chickens if they get rid of their rooster. But they don't seem to think it's a problem. I'm not the only one. I'm just the only one that would come and voice my opinion in the neighborhood. neighbors have gotten together and we don't like the rooster. But as I tell everybody, the best way to do it is to try to go through the city and get an ordinance, because we all know what'll happen is they did have roosters, we complained and they got rid of it, and they just keep coming back. They just keep coming back. So I guess what I'm asking is I would like for you guys to please consider an ordinance where we wouldn't allow roosters in city limits. Because you don't need the rooster to have eggs. So that's what I would like to voice my opinion on.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
All right, up next is 6A, ordinance 2163, open burning and penalties.
I know you guys all got a copy of the ordinance that was written up by, Mr. Brackman. And just over the last year and a half, just some things that we've run into on the fire services, a lot of illegal burns, obviously you see this in the numbers that I report to you guys, and, just people who remark that they're gonna continue doing everything that they're doing, and regardless of laws or ordinances, so we just kind of put together something kind of like what the county has. Actually, the county level, if we go on an illegal burn, they get charged $165 per truck per hour. So that's kind of why we came up with this ordinance.
Well, we have an ordinance in place. I mean, what's the difference with this one outside?
For clarification, it is. Subsection A and B are, A is identical to what we have right now. B, I rewrote that in 2015 to add Tom Archer, the code enforcement officer, as able to approve the permits because we had volunteer chief who wasn't in town. And so we needed to have somebody that could sign them, so we had changed it then. The difference is the subpoint C. It puts some teeth into the illegal burning. If you do the illegal burning, I think we've had at least 2 that I know of just in the last couple of weeks, so.
Yeah, so this year.
So this would put a mandatory minimum fine of $200, up to 1,000, that's the penalty for a class B misdemeanor. And up to 179 days imprisonment, which is just added a class B misdemeanor. And if we're responding to a call that is without a burn permit or violating the terms of the burn permit, because Shadle put down exceptions, things you can't do on the burn permit because they want to burn a couch or tires or whatever. Then if we have to respond, then we would charge them for the response to put out a fire that was without the proper burn permit or violated the burn. And none of that is in the current order.
How many incidents have we responded to over the last year? For this,
Illegal burns. I would say at least 25 to 30.
I mean, on the fines, are these, I mean, where'd you come up with that parameters at? That's just.
It was food for thought, and Dan and Shay thought it was a good place to settle, so.
What is the cost of a burn permit right now?
It's $25 for residential and $50 for commercial.
What is the definition of ceremonial burning? Because I guarantee you every fire I do is ceremonial.
I think it was for flags.
Do we need to further define that?
We can also pull the fire marshal's definition of it because that's actually where it comes from.
Is there one?
Mhm.
Do we need to cite it in the ordinance?
Well, so what I've done recently going out on burn permits is I have what's on our burn permits, which comes from the city, but then what people understand is you still have to follow the fire marshal's guidelines as well. So I actually give them a copy of the guidelines of the fire marshal's office, say this is your responsibility, because technically, even if you're burning or you get a burn permit within 1 mile of the airport, you're supposed to contact the airport before you burn. Yeah, and that's all in there, but I hand that to him, this is your responsibility. So,
And when it says open fires, that's not meaning in a fire pit, that's meaning it's just laying on the ground.
yeah, like
Okay.
a little burn pile out on the
Yeah.
ground.
Okay.
Yeah, you have like one of those little burn pits or something that's got a cover on it. Chimney, whatever, yeah, you don't have to have an opener for that.
Okay, I just wanted to verify that. I'm in favor of this. I mean, hopefully people will realize you need a bird permit. I mean, we've had windy days and we don't want things to get out of control. And $25 is a lot better than 200. I don't know if you have any repeat offenders, but
We've had a few.
I'm just trying to think of some of the reasons why people wouldn't call it in, and what are some of the excuses that you got?
Some excuses, I didn't know, somebody told me I could do this. While I was also, well, Barry came out and told me I could do this.
Hmm.
So this, again, we've been trying to mix that as we come across it, but it's just. As an adult, it's your responsibility to understand you gotta get a road permit. And you gotta follow ordinances, you can't speed, you gotta know the speed limits, and this is hopefully to me gonna give me a little bit better chance of, okay, these are the rules, these are regulations, this are the ordinances. But we've got, right now, an individual that's got a high pile in his backyard that wants to burn it. And it's told me that he's going to burn it regardless of what I say, and it's in a residential neighborhood.
And then, based off of what Shay just said too, that's one of the main reasons I requested that this ordinance remove the code enforcement officer. And only to where the fire chief issues the burn permit, so that way there's no confusion, no misunderstanding, no miscommunication that comes directly from the fire chief. Or her designee, sorry.
I was gonna say, but after she's on
She's
vacation.
got it in her chat.
I can't leave.
I need the definition.
If somebody connected to the fire station would be the only decision maker.
Excuses would be small, quick and easy. Burning off yards, still need a permit.
Yeah, well, and then that, so in the fire marshal's office, your open burning, which is what this is, kind of falls under two different types. You've either got a pile, which is, on the ground, you have a pile that you want to burn, or a field type fire. And those are the two that it breaks it down. At the field type fire, that's what your lawn is considered as. So if you want to burn off your lawn for the fire marshal's office, you're supposed to plow out or till a big 20-foot perimeter around it. So,
Part of the problem is this ordinance, and the ordinance that we had is that we've not had much enforcement on a lot of our codes in the last few years, and I think we're in the right direction to correct that. And this would be a start, right?
So is this an updated 2163, or is this a new ordinance replacing?
This is the ordinance amendment seven.
Amendment, I think that, thank you. I move for the approval of ordinance number 2163.
Also,
All right, I have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 2163. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 4-0. Thank you, chief. All right, next up, number 7, discussion item, non-action. I asked for this to be put back, to bring this back up during commission. Is our priority list. Not only, I was telling the city manager, not only do I like the quarterly reports that are happening from all of our department heads, it highlights what they've been doing. But I wanted to go back through this, kind of highlight what we've been doing, that, hey, we've actually got some stuff done, we've got momentum on these things. And where else do we still need to get a little bit of work? So. I'm just gonna start going through them and maybe we can have a discussion if we haven't done anything about it, but what do we think needs to be done on some of these, so. Starting with Commissioner Woolen, his top was utilities, the south and west water systems. Fire hydrants, sewer and water rates, and electrical system improvements. So out of the four, we did get the sewer and water rates completed. I know fire hydrants is on here a few different times. Do we have any update on where that would be at in priority lists and what's going on with it?
Fire hydrants, at least with the way it pulled from you guys based off these and then my own list, it is high on the list. It's just some of them are. The south, for example, the south loop, I believe is what, Commissioner Wallen meant for the south. That is still in progress. We got I forgot the name of the grant off the top of my head, but they made us for population 3,000 under, we now qualify for that grant. So we have temporarily delayed to apply for that additional funding to help us with that south loop. West is still in the design factors as well when it comes to up north about the golf course.
Let's see, what about the electrical system improvements?
I do not have a response.
Okay. Services, the fire department need to decide on the direction of the fire station location. We are in talks of that one, so that's in progress. And the last one was the nurturing community, the old Miller Station property at 54 in Main Street. We did add that now to the land bank. Walker Park, which we are no longer going with Walker Park right now in the swimming pool. The constituents had a vote not to redo the pool down in the park. But we do not have a direction going forward on that. So. And I would like to see that one at least talk about at some point too. Commissioner Arnstorff, water system, water rates, again, those were done, looping project we just heard, and hydrants, city streets. Was there a certain comment on that one or just in general?
Spruce, I mean. But there's been no money.
Yeah.
You know, we've had that chip and seal project, which I did drive through both of them today and they look really good for what they did. Couple things they should have done, but that's no time. No, it's just to put in this budget here, some money to get some of this work done next year.
And then again, the fire station, which we've already talked about. Commissioner Kaufman, roads, which Commissioner Armstrong just alluded to. Army tank refurbishment, check that one off the list. River and mill race mitigation. Any comments on that one?
So we did have discussion. We've had several discussions about it, but no action's been taken to make any adjustments to the banks or do any repair there. I think that probably still needs to stay on there, so we determine the best path forward.
I think I talked to Carrie about that. I thought that there was something in the process on that.
There is, but I just don't wanna speak for Carrie. I know that some of the flooding issues that we had was those gates were fried and that they worked extensively through that last massive rainfall we got to get those fixed, and I think that's helped a lot. But there's still continued work to be done.
So are the gates fixed then?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So we didn't need to have McDonald Welding come and do anything?
No, he helped extensively
Oh, he
through
did?
that process,
Okay.
yeah, cause I mean, they were frozen, I mean, we got new motors.
Okay.
Cause everything was fried and re-welded some things in and had to use the weld that for a couple of things free.
The concern that was shared with me, and the reason I brought that forward as something to look at was spillover from the Millrace side into the park and wiping out, playground equipment, causing extra damage to the ball fields. With that massive rain, the banks held, we didn't have any spillover that I'm aware of. So I think we just really need to focus on reinforcing where it's at risk of the walking path crumbling into it. And then, of course, around the walking path where we have lights, that'll have to be addressed as well, but. I don't know that we need to narrow it, my original thought was that we need to narrow the south side and divert water into the north side. I mean, we held last flood, so. Getting the right opinion on what should be done should be a priority.
I would focus if I could, is where it does divide and it turns into the island, during that last flood and for how hard the waters were pushing. Over there by where that monument plaque is, I mean, it's completely washed out again. I heard that was like the second time it had been rebuilt. So it would be something that, I think that's where we focus a lot of that, is to try to re-secure that initial separation of the river and the mill race.
Back to the gates. So, Mr. McDonald, Mr. Draftman, do you remember? It was this north gate we were looking at. Were we doing concrete work or was it
Well,
the gate old?
ultimately, the structure of the mill race gates is not to be looked at ultimately. The structure, but the gates were the primary problem causing the overflow of the gates, because couldn't get them open.
So there was some concrete poured on that north side. So Scott did do some work there. So basically he did do what we talked about.
No,
No, not really. We
there
were
was,
talking about,
it was never low enough for him to. do
right,
it.
we talked about when it got dry and then regrets. I just want clarification, thank you.
Alright, budget process involving public input. I don't think we're there yet.
Well, I don't know that. I think that might have been misinterpreted, so the budgeted process as far as providing information to the public. Has been shared. And I would
Yes.
say that's complete.
Okay. Publish commission packets for public consumption, that one is done. Better audio at commission meetings, that one is done, along with the video. Quarterly performance reports from department heads, that one is done. City growth, manage expenses to a shrinking population.
That's what we're working on.
Yep. Publish bills payable, that is also done, because that is in the packets.
Yeah.
Publish pooled cash reports, that was also up and running.
Yeah, part of that financial report.
Yep, manage budgeted funds.
Yeah.
Walker Park, repurpose land for housing community.
That's kind of a stretch goal, looking at. Options to do something with that land rather than sitting. I don't know that it needs to be a priority right now. I would put it low on priority scale.
Conversations have started though on that, we're just waiting to hear back from the grantors of the land.
Right. And we already have some new housing coming in this year too, so I would say that it takes less priority than where we have land currently available.
Alright, and then the visitor center property, the one at 54 and Main, which we had already talked about, is now in the landing.
Yep.
Commissioner McFarland, I know a lot of these were the same, he's not here to really discuss, but utilities. Streets, cost savings opportunity, and hiring a city manager and city attorney. Check on that one. And then the last one is support economic development, expand businesses, and bring families into town. Alright. My three then were town cleanup, address blight, city street, and trees. I know there's been a big push on the trees, there were a lot of violations that went out, and I think it'll start coming around a little more.
For your trees, if I may, a
Uh-huh.
lot of it is, tree trimmer availability.
Oh, yeah,
Has delayed some of that.
I bet,
It's
there were a
definitely-
lot that went out this time.
It's definitely a progress.
And same thing on mine, hydrants and station location. For the fire department, we'd already discussed, and my last one is bricks on Main Street and the truck route. One thing that I do wanna say is, with Main Street being closed last month, we have had a detour of these trucks. Chief, have you known of any problems or anything with the trucks going up Cedar or Spruce?
So Spruce, the end of Spruce will always be an issue
Right there
as
in the-
long as there's angle parking there. You have, parking on both sides, you have angle on one side, parallel on the other. And, with the courthouse being a major business center that attracts a lot of people from all over the county. When you start putting trucks there, you're depending on those trucks to be operated in a manner that they can navigate narrow spaces. That always creates risk.
What about Cedar?
Cedar's better. It's not that Cedar is wider. It's just that it doesn't have that angle parking that narrows everything out at the end.
So my question to go along with that is that we've had these trucks going on Cedar and Spruce right now for a month almost, or however long that's been. Can we,
Almost two.
almost 2 months, okay? I mean, can we talk about having a truck route in Kingman? And getting them off of me?
I don't know how many issues were reported with Cedar, but I did have one when I was pulling up on Cedar. I was heading north on Cedar with 54. And I was at that stop sign, waiting for traffic to pass, and the truck was heading eastbound. And they were gonna turn south, and they didn't have enough room to make that turn, so. I think there are issues. They ended up pulling up traffic.
Still better than Spruce, but yes.
Sure,
Not designed necessarily for that activity.
right.
And the advantage of Spruce is it has a stoplight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
that was-
we do get a good number of accidents at 54 in Cedar.
You did?
You did in the 2
Not
months?
during not
Oh,
during
okay.
construction consistently. Even just with the current traffic levels without the traffic diversion.
Okay,
That's a high risk intersection for accidents.
so that goes through all of our commission priorities. City manager. You wanna share your priority list with us?
I like to focus subsurface before surface, so underground infrastructure, water, sewer, storm sewer. I think you guys are obviously doing a great job with this culvert project over here. I think we need to just continue to improve storm sewer throughout the city. Roads, remove the sand, dirt, and get asphalt or concrete. Then repair the failing roads or vice versa. Then I would like to actually, part of it also is move public works, electric, water to the Coke building. Then move fire, to the public works department, electric building on Sherman, and then move PD back to City Hall, and then improve the commission chambers / courtroom. One vital thing I'd like to see PD wise, is if we have the capability of renovating all this to swap directions of this current room, so that way when inmates have to appear in court, they're not coming through the back, they're not coming through the kitchen and interacting possibly with the regular staff. They will enter and exit through the police corridor instead of coming through City Hall. Having court in City Hall does disrupt the front. And so I think that would be a good goal to have as well in the future. So that's where I'm currently at with my goals.
Any further comments or discussion? All right, on to old business, SEH agreement.
We can talk ahead of time. Good evening once again, Mayor and Council. Appreciate you having me back for a second go around here, so here to answer any questions.
Last time he obviously presented the proposal. The reason he's back on the agenda is this time it's the actual agreement on approving the actual funds being allocated for this.
So probably the biggest item to discuss is the timeline.
Yep.
Yeah.
8 to 10 weeks from when we get approval for everything. I misspoke last time.
Mhm. Okay,
It will be just at 27,900 Includes all of our travel expenses, everything's all included in that fee.
Okay. And we have the city manager share one of his goals about moving the fire station to a specific location. That would be under the evaluation of this. This agreement or this.
Yes, that could be, yep, one of the three, that we would, explore into great detail. If you had more, we could probably do just a desktop review, but if you really want to go into the bolts of it, yeah, this could be one of those three that we'll identify.
However, we did have the WSU study as well done. That could be part of the location study, right?
A few grant writers that I've spoken to, and reviewed the WSU study and mentions, and that's why I sent it to your guys' email as a refresher. It does mention multiple times within the WSU study that a new fire station, better facilities would be needed to continue to improve Kingman Fire. And so my opinion would be, I feel the study of the need, not the location per se, but the study of the need has already been completed.
And I did talk with Missy, from WSU, who ran that assessment for you all, and yeah, that was looking more at the structure and the operational side, not a location or a fire station. But she said that really this is the next step, in that process.
I guess if we already have a location. That we are thinking
Can
of.
I chime in on that?
Absolutely.
So, location, the Sherman shop, I do have a lot of concern with it. Just because the water that floods down there right next to it, I'm not from here, so I talked to my guys about it. And, they said that when it floods, they can't get past that. So they have to, when they go into the station, they have to come down from the north and come around to get to the station. Like I said, I honestly, I've not been in that area when it's flooded before, that's why I asked the guys in my farm. Another concern which was brought up by, Division Chief said, Darren Rowe, was that, pulling the trucks out onto the road, obviously, we're going to have to swing around. The new truck that we're gonna be discussing tonight is 31 feet. And after driving, I can tell you right now, she doesn't have a very sharp turning radius, so. Those are just some of the concerns coming from our aspect. I did talk to Tyler, because I know one of the things that I talked to the city manager about was moving everybody up to the code. And, and get all those trucks, especially let's say trucks up there is gonna fill up pretty quickly. And if you put Tyler up there too, he just won't have a lot of room. In my thought process, I think that Sherman shop would be excellent to have a mechanic in. Then you put a couple of lifts to be able to work on a couple vehicles at a time, but that's just my opinion. And I talked to Tyler, and he said that would be nice, but yeah.
The Coke building is 23,000 square feet. There's no way Public Works Utilities that is currently in a 14,000 square foot facility. Plus the mechanic could not fit comfortably in the Coke building. This idea was originally approached locally within the office. Addressed with Tim and Carrie, who are the utilities and public work department heads. They say they have no issue fitting in that massive Coke building. They like the idea that the Coke building, I know we're talking fire right at the moment, but it has a delivery bay. They believe their transformers and everything else will be able to come inside. They also, Tim, we discussed live fire burning within a Connex box and so on for training, that would not accommodate right there at the Sherman shop. So utilities was like, well, we also have the E-slot. There's plenty of room for Connex boxes and live fire training over here at the E-slot to where that could be an addition outside that. One of my concerns is, I heard Brandy said 3 locations. I don't know about the other 2 potential locations, but if they are anywhere outside this central location, Sherman shop, City Hall, that was the initial argument against the Coke building in the first place. Firefighters are gonna have to travel X to get to Y to get to Z. Sherman shop still maintains within a central, based off WSU, Wichita State study. And based off those old fire calls during that study time and the history of the fire calls, the Sherman shop would still be centrally located to where those past calls have gone. Obviously, you can't predict where a fire is gonna be. So I think a 14,400 square foot facility for a fire station would be accommodating. Obviously, you're pulling out onto Main Street now, which is a tight turn, or out of the alley, which is also a tight turn. You would, right now, there's bay doors on the south side of the Sherman shop. Obviously, through renovations, bay doors would be put on the north side. Also, there is a east-west huge bay doors. From a flood standpoint, we're not worried about $250,000 bucket trucks. We're not worried about $250,000 loaders. We have a $250,000 flusher truck. We've not one time been worried about lineman equipment, which is very highly regulated for the lineman safety and so on and so on. Not one time has that ever been addressed as an issue for the Sherman shop. So that is where Public Works and everything else, but Public Works also feels that Tyler would be very comfortable within a 23,000 square foot building.
You said that the building on Sherman's 14,000.
We measured it today, it's 14.4. It's 80 by 180,
How big is our current fire station?
a lot smaller than that.
Yeah.
Did you say that we have doors on the south side?
Yeah, there's bay doors that lead to the river. They can pull out,
I didn't
go
realize
left
they
or
were on the
east or
south. I
west.
knew that there was on the east and the west. I didn't know there was one on the south.
Yes, yeah. And we could accommodate through renovations, putting them on the north side as well to exit onto Sherman and go one way or another, or pull out of the east and west and go on to Sherman.
It's about 150 by 150 by 60. I did a quick measure.
And what did you say the Sherman shop was?
80 by 180.
Okay.
It's a big building.
Good,
Walk
yeah.
through.
Oh, yeah, I've been down there.
I will say, I'm not trying to upsell any services, cause I really do hate studies. I shouldn't say now, I'm trying to sell you one, but, we do help, with facility planning. So if that's something that there's more, facilities, or you're trying to look at different layouts in those buildings. SCH, we do have a team that focuses on those things, and so I know sitting in your shoes, city manager, that, you kind of try to look and try to really squeeze the budget tight, and you almost start just moving furniture yourself to see if it fits, but. If you do want, a professional team to look at it, we're happy to provide you with an estimate for those things as well, so. Sometimes it's a little easier to see it on paper and to have, some professionals come in and lay it out for you as a concept versus just moving things around and hoping it works out.
And we did look at the east lot, for the training facility. The only concern is there's no water out there. There's no hydrant, so we'd have to put in a hydrant out there as well.
There's water nearby. I mean, to enter the east lot is a concrete plant with 3-inch water lines running to them. So there's a main, water's not an issue for out there. And we got a sewer plant that also requires water further east. So water is a capability. Currently, maybe not, but that's something that again can be addressed during,
Renovation.
yes.
And there is room there for
Yeah,
training.
it's actually.
I know there's a lot of stuff in that
There's-
slot.
Yeah, and it's backing away, so we didn't have to worry about upsetting any kind of residents or anything, but like I said, our only concern on that was just, having water established, we would need that for fires, obviously, so.
Yeah.
That would have to be something that we looked into again.
And you can still, sorry.
No, you're good.
But and you can also, there are grants and funding sources for renovation, so if you do, the grants aren't just for brand new fire stations. There are some grants available for renovations, major remodels, and all those things as well. So,
And do you feel that the grants will recoup the costs of this study?
well, I mean, you can always apply for grants for planning studies, but a lot of times, you have construction and the infrastructure side of grants or the planning grants, and the planning grants would come before that, of course. So usually they're two separate ones.
Well, I'd asked you last time you were here, how much in grants we could anticipate or ballpark figures, some kind of range, and that's kind of dependent on a lot of variables. So you weren't able to answer that.
No.
But if we complete this study, do you feel comfortable, I'm gonna press you on this one,
I'm sure you are.
that we would get at least $27,900 to pay for the cost of the study?
Well, you put that into the construction side of things, so you won't technically be paying for the study
Right.
with it, but I mean, are we gonna write grants to recoup $27,900? We sure hope so, yes.
Okay, good.
If not, then our team is not doing a good job.
Okay.
But without knowing, an estimated cost and value and percentage, I mean, there are so many different variables when it comes to total grant dollar amounts.
Right.
Well, to me, moving down there, just as economics, I mean, that to me is doable. But even with this study, and if we find site and we decide to put a new building up, is that doable? No, I don't think so. I don't think if you put it for a vote, where's the money gonna come from? You're gonna spend 2 or 3 million to put a building up at site.
Right. Well, the fire chief had made a comment, I think the last time, that there were new buildings put up for, like, how much?
So right now Cimarron is putting up a brand new fire station for 1.2 million. Reno County just put up two new fire stations in the last year. One is $690,000 in Nickerson, and the other one was in Turon for $700,000.
And those that are under a million, would they fulfill Kingman's needs, or would that be part of this study?
Yeah, I mean, without knowing exactly, I'm not familiar with those fire stations.
Yeah.
And from what I know about so then they're kind of a basic station, but for us, we would just have to go a little bit further, making sure there's training rooms, offices, and room for expansion for possible living quarters if it ever comes to that point. But yeah, I believe their buildings were, I really don't remember the size of them, they're pretty good size. They had 6 bays now.
What do you call good size, 5,000, 10,000 square foot or what? They housing 2 trucks out there.
There were 6 bays, so 6 bays plus training room.
So probably close to. Little
Believe
less
they
than
were
the size
30
of
wide.
the Sherman shop, cause you could easily do, I mean, you could do a 6 bay out there.
Mhm.
So that I counted. If you not include the office space, there's 8 sections. Between posts.
Yeah, I think the primary value of this study is to determine how we plan moving forward. We have to start somewhere, and it starts with the study, so we can determine how much money we'll have to raise, how much will be available in grants, and then start the budgetary process when the time comes.
But a lot of this study's been done running through that Wichita study, I believe.
From what I read on the Wichita, the WSU report, they did do a really good job, granted, but we need GIS location mapping, we need deployment analysis mapping, stuff like that helps to make sure that I wanna build this right. I've never built a fire station, I've worked in many of them over the years, but I've never actually built one. And I wanna make sure that what we do here is gonna last in 75 years.
Well,
that
and
we
did
don't have to worry
the
about.
WSU study lead to any grant opportunities?
No.
'Cause I'm not aware of any.
I don't think anybody pursued the only thing that I think you guys or the commission at the time or this commission. Actually went through with currently is the hiring of chief Brooks.
And it addressed equipment pretty extensively.
And equipment's been addressed, yes, I apologize.
And I appreciate the chief bringing up, some of the GIS and et cetera, because I'm thinking, okay, do we just do it with an architect? And is an architect part of the work that you do, if we're talking about refabricating these buildings that fit? That would be part of this study.
Yes. That's who Brian Bergstrom, who's on the letter, he's an architect.
Okay.
And then we have, I know you weren't here last time, we have retired fire chiefs actually that work for
No, but I
SCA.
did listen to it, so
Oh, good.
I'm halfway.
And so, they help with the functionality of it, so then it's just not, nothing against architects, they don't, sometimes designed for reality and functionality, and it's just sometimes designed to design. And so we try not to do those things. But we can look, our architects, we just specialize in one, they can look at other, functionalities, for you in your other buildings as well, if you're interested. I have no idea what the price is.
And the Dip Street conversation is a little bit interesting to me on the flooding. I've probably always been able to drive through it, just anecdotally. I've been there 29 years. Seen water there. I know what you mean. The fire, police chief, probably a good place to ask too. A good point on the utility trucks. I've been able to traverse it without an issue. I just don't know that it would be that significant of a flooding hazard, possibly. Yeah, it's not, nothing's an ideal location. I don't like the airport location because you're blocked off two directions. Similarly, when we start talking the shop out west, you're blocked off south, you're gonna have to get around the river. We have our one bridge and you're gonna have to find it. There's always gonna be some of those limitations to these locations. I did appreciate the creativity of talking about using our current facilities. I thought that was a very creative approach, something I thought about.
We'll explore all those things, and yeah, as long as you don't have a low water crossing. Dan and I came from a town that had an area where shut down with gates every time it rained so much, so people wouldn't drive through because you would get flood out, you would stall your car, so. There are unique scenarios in every community.
That was driving them through a creek though with a levee system.
I do have a question on the expenses not included in the lump sum. So you have the expense of overtime, and if things happen, things happen and you do these studies, but that one does say if authorized in advance by the client. However, 2 and 3 don't say anything about that. There's just other special expenses required or the cost of special consultants or technical services as required. So how often does that go over the normal price?
Oh, with this one, with just what we're focused on, he said the lump sum fee, would cover, everything that we can envision unless there's something that's really out of the norm. If you want us to, explore something that, is outside of the scope, then that might, where we have to bring in specialists to evaluate, structural integrity of an old building, or if we have to, drill core samples or look at concrete, like some of those specialty items at that stage is probably where we would have to have a conversation before we did and say, hey, if we bring in somebody to do this, we might have to charge an additional fee that's not included in this.
Well, thank you for that clarification. It's just that number 2 and 3 does not say anything about if authorized in advance by the client.
Where are you? Sorry, I wanna make sure. Are you about on the?
Expenses not included in the lump sum, exhibit A2.
Page 3 of the letter agreement. So section B, thank you, Greg.
Yeah, we can add that language, but that makes. Feel more comfortable if authorized in advance by the. company.
Yeah, I feel like, if not.
Yeah, that's,
It could go
yeah,
$100,000, we're just gonna contract this out.
No.
Who knows?
no, yeah, it's probably, yes, assume that we would authorize, any. Any amendments or any extras over that 27,900 is always ran through the client. 100% of the time, every time. But good catch.
Any other questions or comments from commissioners?
I would suggest that with the motion, if we are going to motion to approve, please add the permission for the city manager to sign the agreement on behalf of the commission.
Why?
He's got my name on the proposal. We can change it to the mayor or to you or to whoever. Just typically, you guys have authorized me to sign it. But you can choose not to. Vice Mayor.
I was just wondering,
It's different.
why do you wanna sign this paper?
Well, I don't, but I will do as directed by commission.
Like in Kansas, when I came down here, this is the first state where it said authorize the mayor or city administrator to sign. It's just something I've always done. I've never seen that before in Nebraska.
Well, do we need to amend it based on your discussion?
Yeah.
The agreement prior to signing it? Are you gonna update it?
Yes, I can update that language in there if you want, or you can approve it with amendment,
Approve it to be signed,
language to include.
yeah,
Sorry, Greg.
that's how you do it.
Sorry. I
Yeah.
gotta remember to shut it off.
I didn't hear everything you wanted to put in there.
Basically, on the, exhibit A to B, numbers 2 and 3. Do not say if I'm authorized in advance by the client. So just to add that language in.
Okay. I make a motion for the city manager to be able to sign with that amendment. And proceed with the study in 2026.
I would get.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait until Commissioner Woolen is back in the room.
Game, I don't know if you want us to put any other proposal together for any other buildings, or if you're executing this on an overall site or facility plan. Know that we do offer those.
We currently have a motion to approve with the amendment. But that is it so far,
And the authority for him.
and the authority, you're right.
Yes. I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the SEH agreement with the amended language and to have the city manager be able to sign this. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Yeah, I'd like to discuss a little bit.
Right.
And so chief, you are saying you don't feel comfortable unilaterally taking this on. Your recommendation preference would be.
Well, and what's good is with them, that they can look at all the avenues that my concerns are. And especially when the trucks are bringing the pool trucks out, just make sure everything's safe and, no, this would be good to actually look at it from that perspective as well, I think. I mean, if it does work, then that would be great. I just, like I said, my concern, I just wanna make sure that we're doing what's right for the community and the fire department. And so,
So my question would be, you got a better idea?
well, that's what I was relying on them for. The professionals, the ones who've done this before. So,
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign.
Yeah, I'll vote for, yeah.
You're for, okay, I didn't hear the.
Sure. And I'm still thinking.
Okay. Motion passes 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, on to new business, 9A, interest disbursement policy.
Commissioners, this is, we have a current policy to distribute the interest earned in our bank accounts. In a certain way, that was done last April. Within the policy, it says that it should be reviewed annually. That's kind of what this is part of that review. It's a little late because in April is when we had an interim and So decided to wait a little bit until we had a new city manager and things were a little more defined. At the time that it was written, it was supporting the financial goals of the city, set by the commission. And, over time, you know, goals change a little bit. And so this is something that I kind of came up with. And I feel that this supports the goals of the current commission. As well as after discussing it with Manager Knoll, his goals as well. And what it does is it just, the current way that it's done on a quarterly basis, on a quarterly rotation. The utility surplus funds, they always get something every month. And then quarterly, a couple of the funds change. So for an example, special parks, municipal equipment reserve, capital improvement, those are all on a quarterly rotation, so they're only benefiting 3 months out of the year. What this does is it just makes it monthly. It gets rid of the quarterly and it does remove a couple of the funds. Because again, I feel like that the goals have changed slightly. And it reallocates things a little bit differently as far as the percentages go. And what this is going to really do is bolster two major funds, which is street improvement, which has been identified that that's the roads paved. And the other one is capital improvement, which pays for the different things such as this fire station renovation, the stuff that we talked about this evening. The utilities are still benefiting, not as much as they did prior, but it's still a significant amount. Municipal equipment reserve is still getting some money as well. And the fire, police, and those reserve funds are getting still finances where, you know, hopefully the goal there is for an example, the police department, maybe instead of doing lease purchases, they can buy vehicles with cash, lessen their debt. And other items. Same thing with the fire reserve. We're talking about a fire truck tonight. This will help support that as well. And then the other fund there is the improvement, which will help cover our match funds on our airport improvement projects. So that's kind of what I came up with. I'm open for discussion, open for suggestions, but that makes the math pretty easy for me. Essentially, it's 25% of the interest goes to street, 25 goes to capital improvement. And then 25% is split 3 ways between water, light, and disposal. And then all of the other funds get split evenly, the remaining 25%. Attorney Graffman did mention on the TIF fund that it needs to get at least its equal share. That's the way it's done right now, and it's pretty minimal because the TIF fund is a pretty small percentage of the pooled cash every month. It's coming out to about 1.55% typically, right around there. This is gonna bolster that a little bit. But if it ever gets to above, I forgot what I said it was. 4.16% of the pooled cash, then it'll have to get its fair share. I don't really see that happening, but it could, especially as we get to the end of the TIF, and kind of depends on what we do in the future with TIF, but. Anyway, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
I think Zach did a great job, especially focusing on projects and future infrastructure that. You know, if we're gonna truly go after these streets and these roads, whether it's repairing them, removing the sand and getting the crushed and building them back up and completing those goals. I think Zach's idea and the way he realigned all this would be one huge leap in that direction. Moving forward.
I don't see any issues with the reallocation. My concern was around TIF, so the extra dialogue around that kind of helped, but especially as we're looking, TIF may be expiring, going from roughly $10,000 to $30,000 is, it's quite a jump. But we have a year left to make any opportunities downtown realized or realized, let's make those improvements, and then that money will be reallocated again next year for them to expire, so. Makes sense to me.
With that, if there's no other further discussion, we would need a motion to adopt the revised interest distribution policy.
I do have one question though. There are a lot of improvements right now going on with the park board. And they have some plans they're working on the park at Main Street. Where would that money come from in this allocation? Would that come? The park has its own fund and they're not listed here. They weren't listed before.
Right. It gets a lot of its funding from, you have a transfer, right?
Yeah.
You have a transfer and then there's, the alcohol tax.
That goes into that fund.
Okay.
Very helpful to know, thank you.
So the more everybody drinks, the better our wine.
Just stay home.
Yes.
The drink responsibly.
And we're not defunding the park.
Well, I may have just spoken, so special parks was funded before. What was special parks reserved for? Was that for park improvements?
Yeah, that's what it's typically used for. It's typically used for your capital improvement projects for parks. Operational stuff comes out of general.
You're not really changing much, you're taking out economic development, which I didn't really know where that money was coming from until I talked to him this morning. I like the idea of putting some money in the street funds, like that, street improvements.
Will this take away from the parks budget though, their plans for future development? That's my concern.
Or we'll obviously figure out every year what is allotted through the alcohol tax, but you could still utilize funds from the general fund to fund the park projects. At the end of the day, it's still a park within the city.
And you're increasing the general fund from 6,000 up to 30.
Yeah, capital improvement fund would help with the parks.
Okay.
Cause right now, currently, and you guys have a copy of it in front of you, there's honestly not that much that comes in from the alcohol tax. So it's already being funded outside of just that tax now.
Right.
Yeah, it seems like it's around like $2,000 a quarter. It's not much.
Okay.
And handling that good. Yeah.
What was that?
That's split between general and special parks, 50-50.
So they don't receive all of it in the first place, so a majority of it comes from capital.
Okay.
So we just need a motion to approve this. I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Alright, we have a motion and a second to approve the revised interest distribution policy. Any further discussion?
Further discussion would be a thank you for bringing up our priority lists again, so you'll understand my note again, it's a little clear. Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Uh,
Aye. All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-1. All right. On to 9B. Purchase request for fire tanker truck.
That's actually a timber, timbers that means. We're not buying an airplane.
Okay.
It's a
It's an
timber.
Ender truck?
Yes, it's a timber. We're timbering water. So yes. You ever question that? Anchor 95 is in Hutchinson. But yes, it is a water timber. She is, you guys, got the paperwork, she's a 2001 International. It was originally purchased, for the military. In its previous life, it was just to, run, water up and down for the Air Force to fuel planes. It was bought in 2017 by Rush County, where they sent it off to Hayes Fire. Brand new pump, everything on it was done professionally. And they haven't used it much. So technically they want to get rid of it. They got a Hemet from the this is a military type of vehicle. They got that from the forestry service, and they need the money to get a tank on and get it up and running. So that's why I did rid of this one. Went out and drove it. She's a slow girl, she don't move fast, but when we get there, we get to a stretcher fire, we're showing up with 1,000 gallons of water on the engine. We have 4 which will carry 1,200 gallons of water, and we have 5 which will carry 2,500 gallons of water. And by the time we get through all that and she gets there, we'll have another at least 4,500 gallons of water. If we can't beat a stretcher fire with 12,000 gallons of water, we're going back to basics. But yeah. Mechanically, she's very sound. This is gonna be one of those plug and play. Are we gonna do this? Obviously, put Kingman on the side of it, put a radio in it, she's ready to go.
And this is within the budget authority still, and you do have the money from,
We have the money in the equipment reserve, and we have to get permission from you guys.
Yeah.
We did put $1,000 to give us time to bring it to commission. We put $1,000 reserve on it.
So we're adding another truck to the fleet.
Well, technically, we have one, but I never see it. The one down at the rodeo rounds is for the fire department. It's supposed to be one of our tenders, and it's never been out on fire. I need more water. Especially with looking into the best systems and stuff coming in this area. Found out that we have 3 substations in our jurisdiction around here. And they're only putting best systems on the substations. So it's another reason why we want to make sure that we're set up to make sure we can move water if we need it. Yes, sir.
Can you put that in English?
So I've been working with the county on planning and zoning is for the best systems, the battery energy storage systems. And so on those, one of the things that we gotta be looking at is water storage or water availability. Obviously, these are out of the county, so we don't have hydrants or water right there. Now, I have talked to several people. Matter of fact, I was in training this afternoon. I'm on a Zoom thing this afternoon about it. And some places are already requiring them to put underground water storage and stuff like that. Well, I wanna make sure that we have enough water. If we have an issue, we can get it there. Now, this one will hold up to 5,150 gallons of water, 50 gallons. Now, that was designed for fuel, which weighs a little bit less than water, so we just have to taper it down.
Or one of our current trucks, the old, the yellow one that come out of solid waste.
So I'm confused by your response. We are adding the truck to the fleet. We're not retiring the truck and replacing the truck. We're adding another truck to the
No,
fleet.
so the yellow one down at the rodeo grounds is ours. That one will stay there and go back to Public Works.
Okay,
And then this one will be that one,
okay,
and that's being used.
got it.
because you don't, even though the yellow one's yours, you don't get to use it.
It doesn't, it's not been on anything since I've been here.
What kind of shapes it in? That smaller truck that we have out here, I see it go by, some of them.
The
Pretty solid.
the 5,
Yeah.
Tinder 5 has a lot of mechanical issues, and that's the other thing that'll be nice about this. We can keep this one rolling and then we can start fixing 5. So, cause I do wanna keep that one rolling too.
And that yellow one doesn't have a pump.
It doesn't have a pump, it's just gravity dump, the rodeo grounds one. This one has a pump and everything.
The rodeo grounds is not tender 5 or 9,
9, it's, the
It is
rodeo ground is 9.
okay.
Well, I'd make a motion to approve this as a purchase. I mean, to me, it looks like it's well worth the money. Especially if it's already set up, got pumps and everything on it.
Yeah, they had the pump and stuff put on in 2017 and it was about. Maybe, I think Chris, their chief up there says $4,500 and he asked that price because like I said, they're building a Hammond up there. And the new ones are around 9, so if we would try to get something in, we would be looking at a lot more cost. So.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the purchase request for the fire tender truck. Any further discussion?
The only thing, I mean. Are we gonna put it, do we want a restriction on the amount, or are we just gonna approve to purchase this truck, whatever it takes to?
We can amend that to say for the up to 25,000.
Yeah, I threw some extra 5,000 there for decals, I don't know how much that's gonna cost, get their name up and get our Kingman on it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was reading, that's why I wanna know if it needs to be in the motion that amount, or just make the motion to approve.
You
the
can
truck.
amend your motion,
That's what I want.
amend the motion to approve the purchase request for the fire tender truck not to exceed $25,000.
That's some, I'll second it, if you're making that motion.
Amending your motion.
Say it was easy.
You're amending your motion, okay, you still second? Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second for the amended motion of the purchase request for the fire tender truck up to $25,000. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your tender.
Oh, yeah, for anchor. Keep it up, you're like on an airplane.
All right. City managers report.
The only thing I really got is the, still moves for a second, because it's closest. Within your guys' emails, you've had multiple updates on the budget. The budget hearing reminder is September 10th. We will start with the request to exceed the R&R, which is still up to 3.5%, which is a 70.073 mils. Totaling roughly $91,425 over the R&R.
Which would be what percentage?
The 70.3.5,
And what percentage?
well, 3.5 mils. I didn't even break it down percentage wise on what that
We know it's
$91,425.
a 3% inflation rate. Know what percentage increase that is.
I can give you that answer. I didn't do that math from that part of it. But just to make it also easier for you in preparation. On your desk tonight was a paper copy, just in case. You don't want to do it through your computer and so on and so on. So that is what this is for. Another thing I would like to discuss is the city of Kingman's logo. I would like the opportunity to update, refresh, and move us into 2026. I was told that our original logo started, I believe, in 1996, so quite a few years ago. I also believe it would help us stop getting confused with Kingman, Arizona, because we receive a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails, job applications. Debate with engineering firms that say they're gonna present to you guys and realize that they're trying to present 3 states away. So on that note, I would like us to move into modern logos. And so this would be a consensus on what logo I would like the city of Kingman to move forward with. Outside of that, City crew is obviously working their tails off. They continue to do so through the hot summer. I was extremely proud and I will brag about them all day, every day. They're really good at staying hydrated, but working out there in 110 degrees, 115-degree heat that we've had recently. They did not falter once. They kept fighting for our current goals. As you guys could tell when you came in, a few days late, but Main Street is open. They had some issues with the players. And so that was fixed and ratified, and so Main Street is open. Prior to the meeting, I was not aware, but Cedar is now officially closed to continue with the culvert. If anybody does take a walk past B Street and look towards the west, the line is very straight and clean, and so I appreciate them here in the cities from our standpoint as the city itself, but the citizens of Kingman's issues and making the right steps forward to ratify that. I think they've heard us and are doing great improvements along the way. And that's all I got.
On there. Alright, Commissioner Woolen?
Okay, so our budget is 14,504,961, is that correct, the proposed budget? Is that the number?
I'm sorry.
Is the budget for 2027 being proposed 14,504,961?
All in, yes.
And then, so tonight, 26, total 13,911, is that right?
I believe so. I do not have last year's budget in front of, or our current budget in front of us, yes. I do want to point out though that our valuation went up 2 million.
Right. So 593,000. So 4%. I did, my only comment would be on the revenue neutral rate. As you know, I'm not a fan of it. Partly being, if you're talking 2008 and 2009, when you have less than 1% inflation rate, it's understandable, but when you're talking 3% last year, 3% this year, if you go revenue neutral, if you don't increase your budget, you're taking a budget decrease. So last year, we basically took a 3% cut. And so I've heard the phrase, been no money, last time in your meeting was said tonight. And so, yeah, by cutting your budget too close to be able to do anything, it's a little bit difficult during inflationary times especially. We don't have pilot money coming in. We are just on a little tighter of a budget. I was proud to vote no tonight. It's because priority wise, I actually liked and have not heard Daniel say previously, but I like the sub level and then the ground level and that approach as far as keeping our infrastructure together and being a priority. That would be very important to me. I too was thrilled to see Main Street open and it's been so detrimental. Boy, you don't appreciate having a street opened up and just how nice that is. To reiterate what I said earlier during our fire discussion, I do appreciate the thought regarding the buildings and departments and swaps and just some of the creative looking at space use and what we're going to do. So thank you for that. It's good to be back. Feel like it's been a while.
Commissioner Armstrong?
I really don't have anything. I agree that with the city crew has been working hard and also with whatever. They finally got this Main Street open back up. I don't think that Cedar will be closed all that long. Because they're ready for that.
Yeah, they're already right there.
Well, for laying, they went to an oval box instead of that big structure. They lay in pretty quick. All good. So.
Yes, Mayor?
Just had a comment on the rooster crowing specifically, public comment that I was going through what I know about the ordinances right now, and I know that there are ordinances around certain dogs that aren't supposed to be in town, that are in town. But we don't really have a ban on dogs and dogs bark, but there is a dog barking ordinance. So maybe needs to be within that ordinance, and this is just suggestion on the top of my head, a rooster crowing ordinance. You know, and so if it becomes a public nuisance, you know, basically the same ordinance where someone's playing their music too loud and it's heard within so many feet of the property line at a certain decibel, I think is how that ordinance reads, then that's a violation of the ordinance. So it's really, this is, the sound was the complaint from that public comment. I think that could be addressed and wrapped up with all those other ordinances as well. So that would be my only comment this evening.
I too was gonna say something about the rooster, cause I would like to see, if we could get something pulled for us, just to see what the ordinance is right now, either dog or fowl, just in general. I know we have it, I just haven't read it in a while. So if we could just see what that was, maybe discuss it next time.
When Dan brought that to me, I was swearing on a stack of Bibles that we had a rooster prohibition in the city code. I was just certain there was. And in the newer versions of the code, it's not there. I think it was in, we call it the Big Green Monster Code Book, ordinance book, which was prior to the leak codes that we now use. It may have been in there, but I'm just certain, because we at one time, we did have one that prohibited roosters to pass, that they do.
Yeah. I also wanted to comment on the H Street Park with the fence being up. That looks very nice. I'm assuming they're not done, but whenever the grass clippings or however they took all that off, I'm sure that'll get done. But I've already seen younger kids playing at that park. It's nice to be able to roll, I don't know what you call it, get the thing down, get the hoop down so they're able to play as well. I just wanted to make a comment. I know you wanted consensus. I do like the logo. The sun does we get Kingman, Arizona stuff all the time. And that is pretty clean. It's in block letters. There's no cursive. It's easy to read, so.
It's not daylight donuts, but okay.
That too. So, do any of you others, considering he wants a consensus, maybe getting this done, do you guys have a consensus? Do you guys like it, not like it? What changes?
Fine with me.
This just works. It's not a logo.
Can you bring it closer for you?
No, I see it just fine, thank you. We also have a city flag that has never been really pushed, you know, years back, we voted on a city flag.
No, city never did. The commission never did.
The commission never did, okay. But
Maybe
there
the
was.
city did, cause I remember it too.
Cause you can find it, you can Google it, you can find the city of Kingman flag, and I didn't know if incorporating something like that or would make sense. Also, my mind immediately went to the water tower. And we have, I think, it's
So-
painted on there.
Yes. To address that, this is not a overnight, all logos, all branding changes. That's not what this would be. This would be a very slow. As new vehicles come in, new equipment, new letterheads, new agendas. That's when this logo would start to be, so if you're not getting a new vehicle. It still holds the logo that we're currently operating, so there's no over the top expenditures. To do this. Slow transition, yes, sir.
Since our main problem is confusion with Kingman, Arizona. On that, you have your little lines on it. Why not put it within a Kansas outline as well? To reiterate the things that it says, Kingman, Kansas, but just visually making that the boundary. The state of Kansas out.
Not a horrible idea.
Truly not.
I mean, it's not, it's just, I don't know, we're just looking for clean, elegant. I'm not saying it's.
Clean and
the state of
elegant
Kansas
versus
is not,
yes.
but it's clean, elegant, it's gonna look clean on paper, it's gonna look clean on uniforms, it's gonna look clean.
All right, cutesy underlying the Kansas.
Trying not to be too hot, but all great suggestions, and that's why we're having this conversation on what it looks like. I just think anything a lot of people, I do have a hard time reading this, whether it's the whole cursive side of it, where people don't write in cursive anymore. Or just the K with Ingman and Anzus. With the big K, it just, we need to modernize. I think 30 years, if that's truly when, you know, it came about, I think 30 years, it's new commission. Different thoughts, different processes, moving the city in a different direction, moving it forward. Now would be a time to possibly jump on this opportunity as well.
Be on the new fire tender as well.
Well, plus the fires, they got their own logo.
Oh, yeah, we have multis.
It's clean, I can walk it across to you.
I can see it.
You're not a fan?
It, to me, it's not, I mean, it just says Kingman, Kansas on it, so.
Well, City of,
City, it is a city.
yes, sir. City of,
It does.
it's clean like
Close
Coca-Cola.
that thing down there, so.
You know, Coca-Cola, Amazon, I mean, their letters will, and their logos will never be forgotten. I'm not saying we're a Coca-Cola, but I'd like to think we're a Coca-Cola. Or an Amazon. It's today, Mr. Vice Mayor.
There it is.
All right, well, I have nothing else. So I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Yes.
Aye.
You're right.
All those opposed, same sign.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. You,